Hey, what's going on? My name is Albert, and in this video, I wanted to do something a little bit different in this video. I want to talk about how to save money like a pro. And if you didn't know, I actually am a professional at saving money. I'm really good at it. You know, if you knew me, you'd be like, yeah, that guy is really good at saving money. So I had made a little presentation for you, so hope this helps. Who is it for? I would say, I'm 33. I'm 34 this year, so these are things that I've done in my 20s that I think helped me a lot to build a pretty good nest egg when I was younger. So I would say this is for someone that's in their 20s, but if you're a little bit older, hopefully it helps you as well. And a little bit on I guess about me. In my 20s, I had this blog called IamHelloCheap.com. In that blog, I would just write about ways that you can save money and talk shit about people, mostly things like not talk shit about people, but I would talk shit about things that I thought were stupid, that were wasting money. Anyways, long story short, that blog is not around anymore because a couple years ago I didn't want to pay for the hosting fee anymore, which I wish I kept it around. But anyways, just to give you some context about my background, just trust me when I say I'm pretty good at saving money. Pretty confident about it. Okay, so I think before we get into it, just understanding the goal of saving money, I think just at a very high level, like you have to know, like from a salary job, no matter how much you get paid, to a degree, you're never gonna get wealthy from it, right? Because you're just trading time for money. So the goal that I think you should have is you should be saving as much money as you can, where you can start making that money help you make more money, and then you don't have to work. That is, I think, what should be your goal. I mean, it is my goal technically, so maybe I'm projecting onto you, but that's how I think most people should think about money. And another thing that I want to say about money is, by definition, people who spend money have less money, right? So if you see a lot of people spending money, kind of flaunting it, just know in your head, by definition, they have less money than they did, right? So just because you spend more money doesn't mean you have more money. If you spend more money, you have less money. So if you feel social pressure to spend money, just think about that. I think that'll help you a lot. Okay, so how to save money? I think the number one thing is when you save money, you have to save money for no reason. It's just that should be your default, right? When you save money, you don't have to have the reason to save money. You just save money because that is what you should be doing. The most important thing you can do is you automate your savings, right? So obviously automate your 401k, ESPP, your IRAs, and even your savings account, right? So real quick on kind of the retirement accounts, you should maximize that as much as you can. Obviously, salary restrictions and everything is difficult, but put as much into that as you can, right? Because the tax benefits are great. I mean, ESPP, if you have the option, you automatically get 15%. And then the Roth IRA, if you don't make enough money to where you can still do it, I would just maximize that as much as you can, because the tax benefits will get huge later on. And later on, you're going to be making a lot more money in your Roth IRA than you will be when you're contributing to it. I can guarantee that. Okay. So when I say automate your savings, obviously these things get taken out of your paycheck. One thing that probably the most important thing you can do when saving just cash that isn't going to retirement account is you automate your savings as well. So when you get that paycheck, your employer most likely will let you to distribute your paycheck into different accounts. So you want to have a savings account that is separate from the bank you keep your checking account at. And this is very important, okay? Because it's too easy to transfer money from checking to savings. You have two accounts, and one account will take, let's say, 10%, 20% of your after-tax dollars, and just goes into that account. The rest of it is where you spend, okay? So let's say, for example, you get $1,000 every 2 weeks. You put $200 of that into a savings account, and that's where it goes. And the $800 you can spend, you can pay your rent, whatever. And that's automatic, right? So you don't ever look at your savings account. You only look at your checking account, right? And then if you're trying to automate, like let's say for example the IRAs, those aren't automatic. You would auto withdraw either from that $200 or that $800 every month or every 2 weeks, however you want to do it. So it automatically withdraws. So you don't think about it at all, and you just do it. That's assuming you don't have the money up front. If you have the money up front, I would just say, hey, put $6,000 in January and just do that every year. Okay. So I think the number one most important thing, once again, is just automating your savings account. So the money that you see before you get to it, it's already saved. All right. And it has to be a separate account. It has to be a separate bank, right? It can't be Bank of America checking Bank of America savings. It's too easy to kind of just transfer money back and forth. It has to be something you don't ever look at. I would also recommend getting a free fee account. This is more on just not wasting money. So like there's a lot of banks out there that have like a Schwab, for example. When you go abroad, you can pull money out with no fees. You can use any ATM with no fees. You know, yeah, that's basically the benefit of it. So no ATM fees, no foreign transaction fees. Schwab checking account or Schwab high yield account. I think that's the best one. I have that, but yeah, just put your money in there. Okay, so when it comes to budgeting, you have to set a amount that you want to save every month, right? So what I like to do is I have that amount that goes into this other saving account, and then I also have an amount that I save every month, right? That amount of my money I save every month, that is a payment. That's an expense, right? That money gets taken out. That money goes to wherever it has to go before I even get to spend it, right? So that's you paying yourself, right? And then you think about that as like your mortgage. So you have to pay that no matter what, right? And then what happens if, like, let's say this month I have to pay for I have to buy like tires, right? Or there's once in a 2 or 3 year expense, right? I would argue that doesn't come out of your savings. That actually comes out of your regular spending money, right? So if you have to borrow money from yourself to pay off, let's say that $700 because that was an expense you weren't expecting, then you have to budget it where that you're actually cutting down on something else to pay for that $700, right? So when there's money that's being spent that you didn't actually attribute to, you have to figure out a way to get around that where you're not cutting into your savings. The money that's your savings account, once it goes in, it doesn't come out, right? Other things that you can do that you should be doing is as you spend money on your credit card bill, you should be paying yourself. You should be paying that on a regular basis, right? So I'm talking like not once a month, but like you're checking that like every week. You're paying that off to zero every week. And the reason for this is because mentally, when you swipe on your credit card, you're mentally saying, "Oh, I don't gotta pay this till later," right? But in reality, you do. This is money you're getting. This is money that you're spending, right? So whenever you swipe a card, it's the same thing as taking that money out of your bank account and paying it, right? But mentally, Americans, I think, don't. It's like, "Hey, I swipe. I'm gonna worry about it later," right? So if you're able to regularly just pay off your credit card as you go to zero, like once every week, then you have more of a mental understanding that, hey, this is money that's actually getting spent, right? It's not like a work problem I'm gonna worry about later. And then I think also you should learn how to use credit cards as well. Credit cards are not for borrowing money; they're for churning. So you really gotta leverage the bonuses they give you. So basically, you get that 50,000 point bonus, and then you just go on to the next credit card, right? So figure out how to do that. I won't go into that in this call or in this video. Okay, and then another thing is you want to bet big while you're young, right? So when you're young and you don't have like a wife or you don't have like kids or whatever or really big expenses, you're able to take like that amount of savings that you have and just bet big on it. Obviously, well researched, right? But if you're gonna invest something that you know a lot about, I would say put all your eggs in one basket and invest heavily, because that's gonna have the biggest outside returns, right? So like when I was younger, I had put a significant amount of money into a stock that doubled in a short period of time, and then I took that money, I 10x'd it, right? And then that kind of built my nest egg getting started. So I think betting big while you're young is good, because if you lose it all, you have plenty of time to rebuild it. All right. Okay. So also, I think understanding taxes is very important. So like, especially when you're getting your first job and you think you're gonna budget all this stuff, like understanding taxes is really important. But also, when you get a raise, understanding how taxes will affect that is very important as well. Because usually what happens when you get a raise is you start spending all this money in your head. You're like, oh, I'm gonna get this extra money and it's gonna be great. And then once you get taxed, you're like, oh shoot, that was like barely, that was not what I thought it was gonna be, right? And then one thing that I think is very important is as you increase your salary, don't increase your standard of living, right? So whatever extra money that you're getting in your paycheck, just move that money over to that savings bucket that you don't even look at, right? Maybe you can give yourself like 20% or 30% of whatever extra you're getting, so you do reward yourself, but you have to consistently be moving this money over, automating that savings, so that when you do get a raise, because you know you can live at this certain standard, you don't have to increase it, right? You don't have to increase it. Just keep where you're at. Because once again, if I go back to this thing, people who spend money by definition have less money, right? So you want to make sure that you're saving most of the money that you're making. I think something that's also very important is being able to have your significant other be at the same financial value as you, right? Because if you value certain things that you like spend money on and they don't, then then it's gonna be very difficult. Like if someone wants to spend a lot of money and you don't like to spend a lot of money, it's gonna be really really difficult, like in the future. So having someone that has the same financial values as you is I think is super important. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say there, but I don't want to get into it, but it's very important that you guys are on the same page because saving money is like a team sport, right? If one person is saving money and one person is spending money, it's not gonna work out. Okay, so outside of the automatic savings account from your bank, I think the number two thing, this might even be number one, is to track your monthly expenses and then track your monthly net worth. I think tracking monthly net worth is probably more fun, right? And the reason behind this is if you're tracking so every month you download all your statements, you look at it, and doing this manually will help as well. Look at all your expenses and you look at exactly what you spent this month and where you spent it, right? And by doing so, you'll realize whether or not you're overspending or not overspending, right? And if you're doing well, you can reward yourself. And also track your net worth, so you actually see the benefit or the results of all your hard work. And by tracking and seeing it grow every month or every year, you're gonna subconsciously reward yourself or subconsciously want to save more money, right? Because now there's like an end goal in mind. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, that was like probably 4 or 5 tips, but I think if you do all these things, you're gonna find yourself to be very good at saving. Hope this helps. Ask me any questions. Thanks.